Any issue with these rankings, bro?
Look, as you said it, everybody knows I love Brock Purdy, Iowa Mafia. But even I can't go there. I gotta be honest. I mean, the second best quarterback in the NFL, I would put Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, if health, and Lamar, I would put ahead of him for sure. Yeah. CJ Stroud, if people want to say, I want to see another year. So the highest I could go, and I'm not even saying I'd go there, but the highest I think you could really go objectively would be 5.
CBS just recently released an article putting Brock Purdy as the #2 quarterback in the entire NFL. And what I've witnessed from pundits like the clips you just heard or people around the internet, the lack of respect that Brock Purdy continues to receive is truly unbelievable. But with that being said, back at it with Brock Purdy's defense. Let's get into it, y'all. Yo, what's up, everybody? It's your boy, Ryan Tigey, back in action. As you just heard on that clip, the amount of ludicrousy that you hear from just absolute jackasses is truly amazing. And I understand they are in the entertainment business, and that very well may be what they're doing. But the people that somehow come across in my algorithm, whether it be on Twitter and X or just on YouTube, seeing those types of clips and just the relentless disrespect of Brock Purdy, it's truly insane. And their rationale behind it is even more dumb, which is why I'm on here. So for those that haven't seen it, CBS released their top quarterbacks across the NFL. Brock Purdy was #2, as he should be. Patrick Mahomes, there's really no argument with that. He's the best quarterback in the NFL. I happen to agree. Brock Purdy, #2, no issues with me. But boy, oh boy, that's clearly not how other people feel. Even people that are, in quotes, a Brock Purdy defender. So let's get into that. There's only a handful of reasons why I truly believe people still will not give Brock his credit that he deserves. I still think there's a stigma of Brock Purdy being picked 262, the last pick in the NFL draft, still plays a role in that, which is just, of course, dumb. We're past that. I don't hear people talking about that with Tom Brady unless it's highlighting how unbelievable he is and how unbelievable he became. The second that I think is by far the most common is he's a product of his surrounding. You got the scheme and team doing it all for Brock Purdy in the eyes of those people that clearly just refuse to admit he's an absolute dog. He is a weapon. He is elite in so many aspects, which we will dive to here in a minute. And then the third thing, I think as simple as this is going to be, is truly, I think it just has something to do with his physical stature. He's not the tallest guy. He's not the fastest guy. He doesn't have the strongest arm, even though that absolutely makes no sense to me when you just look at the quarterbacks on all 32 teams, how that somehow plays a role into it. I really believe there's like unconscious bias that's going into this, and that's why people, again, just don't give Brock Purdy the love and respect that he deserves, even though he goes out there and proves it, literally proves it on the field. I think it's safe to say that is something that people think about, whether they want to admit it or not. It's just his physical stature. When we look at things that can separate, because again, everyone is just preaching, it's Kyle Shanahan's scheme and play calling, and then, of course, it's all the weapons that he has around him. Well, I think there's 3 things that separate Brock Purdy from the scheme and from the players and weapons and skill guys that he has around him. Those 3 things would be, 1, avoiding sacks, 2, he's elite when he's under pressure, and 3, making something out of absolutely nothing. When a play breaks down, when everyone's covered, what does the quarterback do? Those are 3 things that has nothing to do with the Kyle Shanahan play calling, offensive scheme, or the skill guys around him. So when we talk about avoiding sacks, I found a fascinating statistic out there that when an offense takes the field and it's first down, they have a 60% chance of getting at least 1 first down when they take the field. 60%. If a quarterback gets sacked in any of those plays, it reduces down to 20%. So if you get sacked, you have a 20% chance of gaining the next first down. So that in itself is pretty interesting to see, and why Brock Purdy stands out in this department, because what does he do? He avoids sacks. He does so by using his legs. And if we just look at the 2023 season, Brock Purdy only gets sacked 15% of the time, which is unbelievable. and one of the top in the NFL for all quarterbacks across the league. And then what's even better, and he absolutely dominates this category, is what does that lead to? Well, in Brock Purdy's situation, that leads to an explosive play.
Fearlessness to his game.
Yeah, stuff you can't teach. It's just a part of his style of play his entire career at the quarterback position.
Aggressive look from the Bucs here on 3rd and 3. Got rid of it to Ayuk. Crossing the field for San Francisco, first down.
Which makes him that much more of a threat and that much more where defenses have to take Brock Purdy into account when they send another guy or he's getting pressure because the offensive line blows their assignment. What does Brock Purdy do? He turns a bad situation into an extremely positive play downfield, and he does so with his ability to move to his left, to move to his right, throw off platform, throw on the run, and he can throw from either side of the offensive line, the right side or left side, which makes him an absolute weapon. So there's no disputing that avoiding sacks is something Brock Purdy is not only great at, but it also removes the narrative that the skill players or Kyle Shanahan's scheme, because if the offensive line blows their assignment, which they did in San Francisco, without question, we saw it in the Super Bowl, Brock Purdy is able to make plays out of that, and oftentimes massive chunk plays to help lead his team into a touchdown.
Brock Purdy's ability to just extend that play one more count.
And then when we look at Brock Purdy under pressure, Brock Purdy, when he's under pressure, his average pass attempt per yards is 8.2. What was that? Number 1 in the NFL. So when he faces duress, that leads to a massive gain from NFL standards. And when you think about the 49ers offensive line, Brock Purdy was pressured 13th most pressured quarterback in the NFL. 39% of the time, Brock Purdy drops back for a pass, he's under pressure. Under pressure is different than a blitz. It's oftentimes because someone on the offensive line gets beat or blows their assignment. And so when you're 13th most pressured quarterback in the NFL out of 32 teams, with your average pass attempt per yards being at 8.2, which is first in the NFL, safe to say, Brock Purdy, when facing pressure, it's no big deal for him. He's calm and he makes shit happen. The best part about it is, if people want to talk about blitzing, the 49ers were blitzed the most in the NFL. 41% of the time, defenses were running blitz. And what's even better about that is, guess what? Brock Purdy elevates his game even more by manipulating defenses, being able to understand what opposing defenses are doing, where the rusher's coming for, what is the safeties doing, are they rolling back, are they rolling up? Whatever the case is, when the opposing teams brings an extra guy, at least, Brock Purdy average pass attempt per yards goes up to 10.2 yards. That is throwing for more than a first down anytime he's blitzed. Again, number 1 in the NFL by a mile. Go find somebody else that is good as both under pressure and getting blitzed. You're not going to be able to. So again, Brock Purdy, outside of team and scheme, making shit happen when things do not go good, or as well as Kyle Shanahan, the mastermind, schemed it up to be. And then the third one, which you can't really define by stats, you just literally have to watch NFL games and not be a complete moron when watching, is when a play breaks down, when no one is open. The defense called a good play against whatever the offense is trying to do. Nobody is open, so what happens? We see time and time again, Brock Purdy uses his legs, whether he scrambles for a first down or avoids a sack, moving to his left, movies to his right, and then again, oftentimes leading to a massive explosive.
Niners on their 25. McCaffrey empties the backfield going out late right. Purdy 7-step drop from under center. Pumps to throw, nothing there. Now going to throw a deep downfield for Ayuk. He's got it. A big chunk to the Seattle 30-yard line.
The ability for Brock Purdy to create a positive play when there's nothing there initially open is truly something that you can't quantify with the stat. There's no metric for it. Just watch. Watch what he does when there's nobody open and how he manipulates the defenses with his eyes to have a guy squeak open in the window. And when he uses his legs just in the perfect timing, like we saw in the NFC Championship game, starting to use his legs and literally single-handedly won the 49ers that game in the second half after they had come back by using his legs and scrambling for first downs.
Joseph back in for the Detroit secondary, by the way. Here's Purdy. Pressure steps out going long, has a little room. Purdy with a nice move, first down. Purdy still going, staying on his feet, down to the 5, and it's first and goal for the Niners.
That's what he does. You cannot find many quarterbacks, if any, outside of the running quarterbacks, which Brock Purdy is not classified as, that do that. So again, Brock Purdy, is a fucking weapon. And then I see a lot of things around 2023 regular season, even though they're discounting the fact that Brock Purdy went to an NFC Championship game his rookie year and went to the Super Bowl his second year. I still see people throw out, oh, there were QBs ahead of him that threw for more pass yards. Yeah, like Dak Prescott, Jared Goff, Tua. Tua was ranked #1 in pass yards. Well, the best part is it's really simple to make sense of why Brock Purdy is the best in the NFL when it just comes to passing. #1, he had by far and away, if you just look at the top 10 quarterbacks for their passing yards for the 2023 season, just with guys in the top 10, there are multiple players that had over 100 more pass attempts than what Brock Purdy did. 100. Not to mention, Brock Purdy only played 16 games. He didn't play 17 like everybody else on that list, minus 1 or 2 guys like Patrick Mahomes, who as well only played 16 games. Why? Because the Niners had already locked up the division, and on that 17th game of the season, week 18, Brock Purdy did not play because he didn't have to, because he dominated the regular season. So not only was he 5th at overall passing yards last season, just in the regular season, he played 1 less game. And hypothetically, if he had to play that 17th game of the regular season, his average yards in passing per game was about 267, I believe. Well, if you just add that to the 4,280 yards that he had passing in the air, that would shoot him up to over 4,500 yards, which would dramatically move him up the leaderboard from the 5th position, not to mention 31 touchdowns, not to mention the least amount of attempts, not to mention the second highest completion percentage at 69.4%. So again, people continue to say, I need to see more. Well, those people, #1, I think you're morons. And #2, what has Josh Allen done in the playoffs? What has Lamar Jackson done in the playoffs? What has Dak Prescott done? What has Tua done? All of these players don't even come close. The only person that does is Patty Mahomes, because we all know that guy is his own fucking weapon. So I just had to come on here and vent a little bit realistically, because it's like hitting my head against the wall when I hear people try to not give Brock Purdy his credit. Oh, CBS is nuts for giving him the #2 spot. Well, he finished in 2nd place last season. And then when you just look at those 3 simple points, which separates him from his team and the scheme, I think it's safe to say Brock Purdy is the top 2 quarterback in the NFL. All right, y'all, I just had to jump on here and come once again to Brock Purdy's defense when I see just these absolute buffoons speaking on his name, just saying outlandish shit. So I'll be back until the next episode. Like, comment, subscribe. You know the deal. Hit me up. Peace.